Guys, today we start our next unit on personal financial literacy. What does that mean? Well, it means money and money for you personally, like when you buy something, when you earn money, when you anything that has to do with money. Okay, so we're today specifically we're going to talk about income tax and sales tax. Now, sales tax is when you go and you purchase something for, say, $9.99, and you go to the register and they tell you that it's $10.81. You're like, wait a minute, but the price tag says $9.99. Well, that's because sales tax is added. So when you buy something, when you spend your money, you get taxed. Well, guess what? When you earn money, you also get taxed. It's called income tax. So if I earn $1,000, I might only get 900 of it because of income tax. Now, if you notice that the sales tax gets added to whatever you're buying, and the income tax gets subtracted from whatever you're earning. So just so you understand taxes pay for things in this country. Taxes are why we have nice roads and um, parks, and it pays for teacher salaries and police officers and any kind of public servants. You get your trash picked up. You have it pays for our armed forces. Like you're going to be taxed on all kinds of things as you get older. And just so you understand why you're getting taxed, a lot of people complain about taxes, but we live in a beautiful country, and one of the reasons is because of taxes. Okay, that's my say on taxes, as much as I don't like to pay for them. All right, so anyway, so the very first blank we're going to fill in is sales tax. Sales tax. Again, we talked about that just a little while ago. It's something that's added to your purchase, it's added to your total bill. Income tax is subtracted. And both of these are both of where they come to the conclusion of what they're going to add and what they're going to take away from your money is through a percentage. So, if we're going to be doing a lot of setting up proportions and solving, which the great thing is you've done this before. We have done percent problems before, and we have been cross multiplying and dividing just even in the last unit. So hopefully this will go well with you. All right. So if you look at the box right here, it's consistent. The percent will always be over the number 100, and then the part over the total. So let's just see how this works out. Number one, if your bill at Target is $60 and the sales tax rate is 6%, what would you pay in tax? So it only wants to know the tax. So using the formula above, I'm going to search around. Oh, look, there's a percent. All percents will go over 100. That's a given. Now, the $60 is the whole amount that you're spending. I am spending $60. So that is the total. Now, the part is the tax that they're going to add, but we have to figure out what that is. So I'm going to cross multiply and I'm going to divide. 100 times x is 100x. 60 times 6 is 360. Divide, divide. Now let's look at this division because this doesn't have to be hard. There's going to be usually a lot of zeros you can knock out. So I'm going to knock out those two zeros, and now I have x equals 36 over 10. Now some of you know what that is, but if you had to work it out, the 30s, the top goes in the box, 10 goes into 3 0 times, 10 goes into 36 3 times. 3 times 10 is 30. I have a remainder, so I'm going to add a decimal. And I'm going to add a 0, and I'm going to bring the 0 down. 10 goes into 60 6 times. 6 times 10 is 60. So now I have finished. So X is going to be $3.60 is your tax. So about the hardest part in this is going to be the division part at the end. And sometimes it won't be that bad. Now, that's just my tax. What if, look at number 2, it asks for your total. If it asks for the total, I'm going to take the cost and I'm going to add the tax. Now, if you're wondering why I'm writing it in such a weird way, is because of decimals. $60 has a decimal behind it. So that's what $60 looks like. And so I'm going to add, I have 0, 6, bring the decimal down, 3, 6. So the total is 63.60. That is my total. Let's go to the next one. Remember, I added the sales tax. Look, we're going to do sales tax again. $40, tax rate is 7%. Percent over 100. The percent always goes over 100. The total goes on the bottom. We're looking for the tax. So, because it says how much sales tax. So that's what we're looking for. So again, 100 times X, 40 times 7, divide by 100, divide by 100. I can cross out those zeros. X equals 28 over 10. And now I'm going to divide top in the box, 10 on the outside, 10 goes into 2, 0 times, 10 goes into 28, 2 times. 2 times 10 is 20. I have a remainder, so I'm going to add a decimal. I'm going to add a 0, bring it down. 10 goes into 80 8 times. So this is going, if you look at 2.8, which is it's going to finish it out, my sales tax is $2.80. 2.8 is 2.80. It means the same thing. All right, next one's total, and because it's tax, you're always going to add it. So I write out my $40 and I'm going to add my 280, 0, 8 decimal, 2, 4, 40, 280 is my total. So there's 2 really good examples. All of them work out the same way. Sometimes the numbers are a little bit bigger or smaller. All right, income tax. How much money would you, this is number 5. How much money would you have to pay in income tax if you make $35,000 a year? Now, let's look at this word gross. Gross income tax is the total amount I get. Remember I mentioned earning $1,000? That would be my gross. Now, once taxes are removed, then that's called your net income. So let's look up, we have to go to the top because you're probably looking and saying, I don't see a percentage. So I'm going to go up to the top because the more money you make, the more you pay in taxes. So we're going to come on up here and we're going to find $35,000 would be right here because $35,000 is in between these two numbers. So we're going to do 15%. So come on back down here and we're going to do 15 over 100 equals X over $35,000. Woo, big numbers. All right, here we go. 100 times X is 100 100x. 35,000 times 15, and I've already worked this out, is $525,000. Woo, big number. Now watch what's going to happen though, because on this one, I'd probably say the multiplication's the harder part, because look what happens when I divide. These zeros knock out, these zeros knock out. Any number over 1 is that number. So the number is actually going to be 5250, and there's my comma. So I'm going to pay $500,250 in income tax. All right, that's a lot of money, right? So let's see what you're going to make. We're going to figure out our net income. So my gross was $35,000. I have to take my taxes out. And a lot of you get lost in all of these zeros. So we're going to have to be super careful. 0 minus 0, 0 minus 5. So I have to borrow. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to borrow 5250. Okay, so I'm going to borrow from the 4. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. Now I have to borrow from the 3. 14 minus 5 is 9. 2 minus 0 is 2. So my net income, my net is $29,750. Let's do this one more time. Now I'm making $80,000 a year. $80,000. And it wants to know my income tax. So we're going to come back up here, and I'm going to find $80,000 is right here. So now we're in the 25% bracket. So I'm paying more taxes. Okay, here we go. The percent goes over 100 equals X over 80,000. Okay, now I'm going to just tell you this right now. I know that 25 and 100, I think of quarters and a dollar. So for me, 25 over 100 can easily be simplified to 1 over 4. Now, if you can't see that, you'll have to multiply with the bigger numbers. But just so you know, you can always simplify that first ratio sometimes if you can. So now the numbers are a lot easier. 4 times x is 4x. 80,000 times 1 is 80,000. My last step here is dividing. So let's see, it goes into that 80,000. 4 goes into 8 2 times, then add the zeros. So we end up with $20,000. How'd you like to pay $20,000 in taxes? Whew. Okay, so you worked really hard this year and you earned $80,000, but you have to pay taxes. So you ended up only receiving $60,000. But you know what? You got your trash picked up and the roads fixed around you and paid my salary. So thank you very much. And that is how sales tax and income tax works. Good luck on the assignment. Bye-bye.